A bloodbath tonight in the rural town of Chinook.
Everyone here is hiding a secret.
4 more victims found scattered.
Some worse than others. I came as fast as I could. I'm Deputy Ruth Vogel. And soon, my quiet life will never be the same.
Realm presents a 30 Ninjas production, Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
With your long-forgotten name, we call upon you.
We call upon you.
In the words of the unspeakable language, we call upon you.
We call upon you.
By the spilt blood of the wicked, who walk upon this world, sprouting the words of false idols, we call upon you.
We call upon you.
On the land of the dead harvest, that which brings the earth itself into your service, Yamal, we call upon you.
We call upon you. We call upon you. We call upon you.
Yamal calls upon you.
The Sprouting, a Call of Cthulhu actual play podcast by Blighthouse Studio. Find us on your podcatcher of choice.
Oh, hey everybody!
Hello, just Kristin and Jenny and Kristin here with a little bit of news, a little bit of sexy tension awards, and a little bit of lesbian sex history up in the intro.
Oh, good. Glad we found a way to get it up into the intro.
First and foremost, of course, if you don't know by now, what have you been doing? We are doing our 2-night finale in Brooklyn, September 17th and 18th. It is sold out. However, it is impossible to sell out the internet, and you can watch both nights from the comfort of ye own home. You can be in your PJs, you can cosplay at home, do whatever you want. Cosplay in your pajamas, yummy sushi pajamas, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You can go on over right now to moment.co. That's moment.co/buffering the vampire slayer, or just go to our website, bufferingthevampireslayer.com. It's on the landing page, which is /chosen. It's also on the calendar. It's everywhere. You can find it. I believe in you. Come join us virtually. Those shows also stream for 7 days. So if you can't make it in real time on the 17th and the 18th, you can watch it anytime for 7 days after.
Wow. Well, I have some very exciting results of last episode's Sexual Tension Awards for the episode Empty Places.
LaToya, are you listening?
LaToya, are you listening? I hope so. In 4th place, with only 10% of the vote, but I also believe that there's no other podcast, no other community that would give this pairing a whole 10% of the vote. It's Faith and a Hot Pocket. God bless us, everyone.
Hell yeah.
In 2nd place, road trips are sexy, road trips are fun, but if you break it, I don't have a rhyme. 2nd place, 13%, it's Spike and Andrew. Yay! Spandrew.
But if you break it, you buy it? You were doing a play on?
Well, lovely to look at, lovely to hold, but if you break it, consider it sold.
Oh,
it's a beautiful poem.
Got it.
That's on display in many shops across the United States.
I can just imagine you, rule follower, tiny child, Jenny Owen Youngs, like internalizing that sign in terror.
Yeah. Well, it's always a good idea to remember all of the ways that you can go to hell.
Moving right along to the second place.
Moving right along to Stairway to Heaven, if you will.
Oh, my goodness.
With 21% of the vote. I don't know if this pairing has ever only gotten 21% of the vote before. In 2nd place, we've got Buffy and Faith. We've got Fuffy. You're welcome.
Stiff competition.
And speaking of that, in 1st place, A Christmas Miracle, 56% of the vote. This is what the universe intended when it started making Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's Faith and Wood. We love to see it. You love to vote for it. We all win. Like, Faith and Wood get the trophy, but we all win.
We all win. That sexual tension's gonna bubble right over.
Yes.
in this episode. But before we get sexy in the episode called Touched, which also is sexy, a little note from your hosts and producers, Kristin Russo, Jenny Owen Youngs, two heterosexual women. You'll get to hear us rant a bit later in the episode. We stand by our rant about how we feel about the Willow Kennedy scene. We have, well, I won't even tell you their ship name. You can wait for it in the episode. But something we didn't learn until after our rant, again, would not have changed the rant, but definitely would have been included in episode, is that a lot of folks consider this the first lesbian sex scene to have aired on network television.
Now that's a landmark.
That is a landmark. So I have a couple things to say, Jenny. One, that's great. Great for them. Two, what is it when lesbians go down on each other in a musical episode and cause the other one to levitate? I
think they were really trying to keep that under the radar, actually, so that the episode could air.
Okay, so that was they were just hanging around.
No, Kristen, the only way that lesbians can have sex is by running their rigid hand up and down the side of one another.
Oh, God.
This has long been established.
Like the New York Times article that I read was like, the first time two lesbians were in bed together was in 2003 in Once More with Feeling. But the first time that lesbians had sex in bed together on television was this episode. Well, like, Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, knocking it out of the lesbian park. I should amend that. Knocking it out of the lesbian and bisexual park. Great job, guys. So I was going to offer an honorary trophy for historical sex. Historical sex. But I'm going to make two because really, I mean, I really think that Tara and Willow probably took it, but we'll make two because if they didn't, then Kennedy and Willow did. So congratulations.
Yeah. 2 official awardings, but we only need 3 trophies.
Yes, Willow's trophy is just bigger because she was involved in both. The other really quick thing I want to say about this, because we rant about it later, is how wonderful it is that Jenny Owen Youngs and Kristin Russo so spoiled in the year 2022 that we're like, yeah, it's good, but we wish it could have been better. Like, I love that we are spoiled now. We're not like, wow, that's the progress. That's good.
Yeah, in 2003, this was like a slam dunk. This was stand up in the stands, people.
This was like, hope you're not watching it with your mom. You know what I mean? Like, oh God.
My God.
Anyway, do you want to hear just a real quick email from a soon-to-be doctor who emailed us?
I love doctors at all stages. Pre-doctors, current doctors, post-doctors.
Oh, that's great, Jenny, because that actually means that you love me because I could be a pre-doc. I mean, you don't even know. Like, everyone is a pre-doctor. You know what I mean?
Everyone? Okay, read me the email.
All right. So, Dr. Sydney Kaysen, I don't know if you pronounce your last name, Kaysen, maybe it's Kesson, says, stopping by to correct the pre-show banter from Dirty Girls, okay? So before the show in Dirty Girls, we were talking about the recycling of cells, how all of our cells recycle every 7 years, okay?
Oh, I'm so pleased that we're getting a correction about this. I cannot wait to find out what's up.
Yeah. Dr. Sydney says, I am defending my PhD in neuroscience on September 9th. Good luck, Dr. Sydney. And my research area is recycling inside of neurons. Unlike other cell types, neurons last the lifetime of the organism, 70 to 100 years in humans. Because of that, recycling and dealing with the, quote, trash inside them is even more important than for other cell types. One of the pathways that breaks down their trash to be recycled is called autophagy, fragile, which from the Greek means self-eating. Listen to this, Jenny. Literally, these recycling units look like little Pac-Mans inside the cell. And they surround stuff that needs to get broken down, close, and then break down their contents. Little Pac-Mans, Jenny.
Oh my. Is this what Pac-Man is based on?
Probably.
Wow, I love that.
So bless you, Dr. Sydney. I am confident that you are going to defend your PhD.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You're already a doctor on this show
Yes.
and soon to be in the rest of the world.
Hell yes. All right, Jenny, you ready to get into this freaking episode?
So ready.
Hell yeah.
Hello and welcome to Buffering the Vampire Slayer, a podcast where we are watching and discussing every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer one by one, spoiler-free. In tandem with the gals I'd love to share 1 gallon of dairy-free ice cream with, Angel on Top. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs.
And I'm Kristin Russo, and I love to get down on the floor with them. You know what I mean, Jenny?
Oh my God. Somebody call HR.
Consensually. Just kidding. I've got to go. This week, Jenny and I are trying to get in as much trouble as we can. It's the last month of the podcast. Jenny said, what are they going to do? Fire us?
Yeah, that's right.
This week, we're talking about Season 7, Episode 20, Touched. Stay tuned at the end of this podcast every other week for just 3 more times for an original song written by Jenny recapping the Buffy episode we are discussing.
Touched was written by Rebecca Rand Kirshner and directed by David Solomon. It originally aired on May 6th, 2003.
I have 2 ideas already for musical inspirations. One is Touch Me from Rocky Horror Picture Show. Jenny made a cringe face. I'm sure because of the music, not because of the singer. And the second one is When I Think About You, I Touch Myself.
Yeah, these sound like 2 songs that are like really up my alley.
Yeah, and also like I think really on theme for the energy and the vibe in this episode.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was wondering about the title, and is it
Touched.
because everyone
Is doing it.
does a bunch of touching later?
Maybe. It's also probably because all the first wants we learn is to feel, to be touched, to snap a neck.
Yeah. She's a simple girl with simple desires.
This is the one where this episode description killed me. Are you ready? This is the one
ready.
where, according to IMDb, Faith and the Potentials search underground for a weapon whilst Buffy confronts Caleb at the vineyard. Whilst is what made me cackle.
I like that a lot.
I was going to say, somebody got real Jenny Owen Youngs up in there.
Yeah, I wrote this episode description, actually.
Whilst Buffy confronts Caleb at the vineyard, whomst will win.
Indeed.
All right.
Wow. So, previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Faith showed up. There's an army of potentials. Caleb is bad. Xander got a little eye poke. Don't forget, the first can be any dead person it wants. Buffy gave a little speech about something being protected at the vineyard, and everyone is like, nah. Dawn and company kick Buffy out of her own house, and then Buffy tells Faith not to be afraid to lead the girls.
Yeah, except for this edit is total bullshit, Jenny. I went back to watch. I actually rewatched the scene where Buffy is kicked out of her house because I have even more to say. Everyone's angry at me, and normally I'm like, I'm sorry, except for this time where I'm like, I'm not sorry, I have more to say. But before I get there, this edit for the previously on is cut so that she says, don't. Their lives are yours now. And I was like, wait, that's not what she said. And it like takes away the energy I think that moment had, because we all thought she was going to be like, don't touch me. You know what I mean? But she says, don't be afraid to lead them. So I would like to speak to whoever edited these previously ons and have a word.
Don't be afraid to leave them is so firmly and boldly burned into my brain that I didn't even note. I was just like, and then she said, don't be afraid to lead the girls.
Yeah,
Next.
I was mad. I was like fucking rewinding, going back. I thought I went back to the episode prior, but I accidentally skipped to the next episode and was like, what? This doesn't seem right at all. Okay, anyway, if you don't mind, Jenny, I just want to say a couple of things. I want to say a couple of things, okay? First of all, I'd like to start by referencing Spike's quote from this very episode where Spike says, I actually don't know what I'm going to say until I start talking, because it really resonated with me.
Classic Kristin Russo.
Truly. I speak, Jenny and I are polar opposites here. We're like, when I speak, it's because I think there's something inside. So I just open up my mouth and I wait for it to fucking shake itself loose. Mm-hmm. When Jenny, and I mean, correct me.
Nobody knows when it will happen.
No, it
could take 3 sentences, could take 3 days.
It's true. And Jenny will be quiet and formulate a thought. Sometimes for like, you don't hear a lot of the pauses that happen in the podcast because they're edited out. But, you know, Jenny's very careful about the words that she speaks and formulates them precisely. So when Spike said that, I really was like, yeah, man, I see you. But I say that because I have some things I want to say. But as usual, you know, I haven't written a script. I just know I have feelings about last episode's discussion of Buffy getting kicked out of the house. Really divisive moment. And I love that. I mean, you know, I don't love conflict, but I think it's really tasty and delicious when we have a group of very brilliant humans watching a very brilliant show, having strong opinions that differ from each other. Jenny and I, that doesn't happen to us often in the space, you know, and like, it's nice. So I want to start by saying that unless an opinion is directly harming a human, I think that it's important for humans, and I'm not like speaking to the listenership. I'm just saying in general, I think humans have a very hard time of not just saying that is wrong, right? Like, that's the wrong opinion because this is the right one. I think like the whole beauty of this is that we all have opinions, and I don't think that any of them need to be wrong, again, unless someone or something is being harmed by the opinion. Okay. Second thing that I want to establish is that I also very, very much believe that we have a difficult time as human beings holding the fact that a person can be good and also do things that they need to be held accountable for that are not so good. Okay? Okay. So all I want to say, Jenny's left. She walked away. She's done with me. But I just want to say that because I very much feel that Buffy getting kicked out of her house is not necessarily her getting kicked out of her house. I think that she is at equal parts responsible for like leaving this home. And then I think that it is really integral to where she needs to get to walk the rest of the path that she needs to walk. I'm not saying it is the right decision. I'm just saying that I see very, very important points of strength in her leaving. And I watched the scene again after some, and you know, whenever we say like a couple listeners were upset, it's like once we say it, then everyone's like, everyone was mad. Like it was fine. It was not a big thing. It's just like enough people were like, I disagree with this for me to be like, I need to watch it again. And so Jenny, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm just listening.
Am I doing okay? How am I doing?
Yeah, you're doing great.
Okay. So I went back and I just really looked at the dialogue. Alba and I were actually talking earlier today a little bit. And, you know, she was like, it's funny because I think that like, had I been watching the show like I normally watch the show, I would have felt how I had always felt before, which is like, what the fuck? But because when we watch the show, we like pick apart some of the dialogue and like, we're looking at it based on conversations we've had in the past and da-da-da-da-da. Like it felt different. And that's the experience I had as well. Because Faith, Robin, Giles, those three folks are saying, I don't understand what we are going to fight. It's not that we don't want to fight. It's that we don't understand what the mission is. And so we can't get on board with it. We don't feel it's the right decision because we don't understand it. And Buffy is saying, why can't you trust me? And Giles, listen, honestly, for the most part, fuck Giles for a lot of season 6 and season 7. Okay. I know we're very mad at him, and I am too. But Giles's point that Buffy doesn't trust them is an important thing to have a conversation about, I think is really valid. It's one line. It's like, you know, maybe not the focal point, but to me, it's really resonant for the issue, which is that what I think the group is saying is that they really need to feel that they're a group. In order to fight this fight, they need to feel like they're together. And Buffy is struggling. And someone mentioned like, but what about all of the trauma she's gone through? What about all of like the time she's been right? What about all of this? And it's like, for me, that's all on the table. It's just that I think that the group is feeling that the group needs to be together. And I think that they give Buffy like 5 to 7 opportunities to come into the conversation, and Buffy can't do it. And I think that that's why she has to leave. The particulars of like, it's her fucking house. You can't kick somebody out of their own fucking house. Like, I understand that. But I think that, like, the show at this point is showing us Revello Drive as this place of community action to defeat this big evil. And that I think what the show is either trying to do or just accidentally did, which resonates for me, is showing that there is an issue when the leader of a group cannot come together with the rest of the group. And for Buffy, and I'll talk about it when we get into the episode, but I think that Buffy really had to go to be able to get back together with the group. So that's my, I said a little bit of it, but I felt like I didn't really like say it super clearly, but I've been thinking about it. I wanted to share it with you all. And I also don't think that I'm right. Those are just my feelings, my opinion, my take.
Yeah. I'm just looking back on the last 5 minutes of my completely silent audio file.
Yeah, please. I mean, I would love to hear what you think or what you disagree with, if you disagree, or if maybe you just don't want to even talk about it and you want to move forward.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think like as with most things, there's 3 sides. Mm-hmm. My side, your side, and what actually happened. And I just feel like this is a lot of stuff going on both sides. In some cases, almost 7 years worth of dynamics developing and shifting and changing, and everybody growing in different ways at different rates, and people leaving and people coming back, and all of this stuff has kind of like built up to a point of ultimate tension at a time that is extremely perilous for everyone involved. And to me, this feels like still, just like a big case of people not meeting in the middle. Mm-hmm. I think Buffy is very used to being in command, so her reaction to not being met where she is, is very specific mm-hmm. and really intense.
Yeah.
And, she does have the track record of being the leader of this group to great success for many years. What she doesn't have right now is the ability to experience her emotional and personal connections to these people because she's so afraid of failure. She's mortified about the losses they've already suffered that she feels 100% responsible for, and that she cannot even fully acknowledge to herself, let alone to the people around her. And she's so scared that she's going to be responsible for more of that, right? So she's like, not just shut off from the girls, as she talks about in this episode, but she's kind of shut off from everyone. And there's also like, hey, really good recent reasons for that. See Giles, mm-hmm. see Wood. Mm-hmm. Wherever you stand on the Spike Wood continuum, and not that you can't have like also like, not that you can't hold conflicting opinions in that sort of spectrum, but like wherever you stand there, like Buffy's got a reason to not trust the people who have, like somebody like Giles, who she's trusted forever.
Yeah.
Who has been her teacher.
Yes.
Till now. And there's just a lot at play here. I think last episode we saw nobody doing their best work.
Yeah. Yes.
But I also think, Kristen, especially from a storytelling perspective, that the power of somebody who's been deeply entrenched in a group being isolated from that group, and like what can come out of that, what kind of growth, exploration, reflection is possible sometimes only in that circumstance. That's a lot. That's hefty. That gives the people making the show, some room for Buffy to get real low so that she can start coming back up.
Yeah. And also I agree with literally everything that you just said. I think it's a really interesting moment. I think it's a really powerful moment in the show. And I also think it brings up, I mean, I don't know if this is true for you, Jenny, but I would say it's probably true for some of the listeners. I know it's true for me that like when I move through this moment that Buffy is experiencing, it also brings up stuff for me. So like like Jenny said, right? It's like there's Kristin's take, there's Jenny's take, and then there's like what actually exists in the middle. It's like part of Kristin's take is also based on like fucking experiences I've had of being told to leave a group, or you know what I mean? And like being taken to task in ways that felt horrible to me, but that also I was like, fuck, I don't know if I could have gotten here if I didn't get there. And I don't know that that means that like everything along the way was right. But all I'm saying is that like my shit is in there too. And so if you're listening and if you have strong feelings about this, I'd also challenge you to think about like how your own shit gets wrapped into it, because it can be really an amazing tool to just like thinking about this shit that's inside of us. And that's why I love this show. Before we move forward, I wanted to say one other thing, which is that I had like some stuff to say about Anya's monologue. We kind of like, you know, there's a lot going on when you record a podcast. And there was even more going on last week because we had 3 voices and not 2. The thing that I didn't say last week about Anya's monologue is about the word lucky, because I think that like that just feels wrong out of the gates, right? Like, and it makes everyone immediately default to like, how the fuck is this girl lucky? She didn't choose this. She didn't want this. She didn't whatever. And so I don't know how Anya means it. But when I hear Anya do this speech, I hear it more in a space of like, we're all fighting the biggest evil in the whole world, and you lead us because that's like the role that you have been like assigned, and you have super strength in a way that like a lot of us do not. So you're more equipped for this fight. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be the one that leads us into this fight. Like that's how I like internalize that monologue. But I like also have a lot of room and space for people who feel like, wait a minute. Because it's also Anya at the end of the day. And like, you know, Anya goes hard.
I do feel like Anya's speech could have packed a little bit more of a punch for me personally as a viewer, because I feel like she really kind of, you know, with one sweeping gesture, discounts all of Buffy's training, hard work, sacrifice, literally dying for people, and Buffy's track record of success.
Right.
I think there maybe are other ways she could have approached the question of like, why is Buffy the leader and should Buffy be the leader? That might have worked for me a little bit better.
Yeah. And we had some listeners who were like, it would have been nice if Anya had directed some of that to Giles, which I have to say I deeply agree with. Deeply agree with. And like, not to like beat a dead horse over here, but, you know, just to underline your point, Jenny, of this lack of trust, right? It's like, it's not necessarily on Buffy that she does not trust a lot of the people in that room. There are people in that room who have done Giles top of the pile, really fucked up shit to Buffy, where how could she trust them? Right. So it's a big chaotic mess in there. And I don't think that Jenny or I would ever stand here and say like, no, definitely the way we feel is the right way. And I don't know if you agree with this, Jenny, but my opinion is that the best of television, the best of art is like the kind of shit that really gets these conversations started, you know? Should Angel be a character that can redeem himself? Like that's the good sticky middle of shit, where we really get to like the root of what goes on inside of us. We're very complicated little animals. So... Anyway, now I'm done with my preamble. Did you have anything else to add to your preamble?
The only other thing that I would say is just back to you saying that they didn't kick Buffy out of her house. And I'm here to say that Dawn said, get out, get out, get out.
I wish that Donna had literally said, get out, get out, get out.
Just one more time for the road.
Yeah, and I can hear things from both sides here, because clearly they tell her to get out of the house. But I think what I mean by like Buffy participated in this is that I do really feel I I think you made a very good point in saying that Buffy has probably a harder time meeting them in the middle because of where she's been. But I do think that there were opportunities. I understand why Buffy couldn't take them, but I do think there were opportunities. I think what they wanted was for her to stay and talk and participate. And I think it didn't happen. Have an exchange. And I think it didn't happen. And I don't think that like anyone is single-handedly to blame. And I will take some ownership of the fact that like part of the conversation last week, I think we were fucking, fucking Los Angeles was in the house. So it was real fun to be like, yeah, Buffy's being a bitch. But like the nuance is also here. I hope that, my God, after 6 years of talking about this character in this show, that like we go a little bit deeper than Buffy's being a bitch. But it is fun. Anyway, yes, agree. Get out. Oh, Dawn.
Okay.
We can stop talking about it, but I have to say, rewatching Dawn with that line. Michelle Trachtenberg, this episode too. I'm here for it.
Yeah. So you're ready? You're ready to move on to the episode we're discussing today?
I am.
Well, as you can see at the Summers house, now that Buffy's gone, things are just really going like a well-oiled machine. Everybody's doing great.
Oh, Amanda really wants them to follow the parliamentary procedure that she's learned about in her like model UN classes.
Oh boy.
Kennedy immediately going in for those of us who have been around longer should have more of a say, right? Yeah.
I do feel like it wouldn't have been my will for them to kick Buffy out, but now that she's gone, I think Xander's got a really strong point that probably everyone there shouldn't have a say. And I'm kind of curious as to why this conversation has started with all of them in the room, or is this picking up immediately from the end of the last episode?
It seems like it's like an hour later. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they've been in chaos for about an hour trying to figure out. And yeah.
I would expect sometime in that last hour for Giles, Xander, Anya, Wood, Faith, Willow to sequester themselves and have respectfully a grown-ups conversation.
And Dawn. Did you say Dawn and Dawn?
Oh, sorry, and Dawn.
Yeah.
I was trying to picture everyone. But Dawn belongs in that group. I don't think that Kennedy does.
No.
Not the council of people who've seen a lot of shit.
No, because Kennedy, I think Kennedy is fantastic. I think this episode really gives us Kennedy in a way that feels like, oh, wow, this character could like have a spinoff. Like they give us some very strong Kennedy moments in this episode, but Kennedy does not know Buffy at all. Kennedy, like this group, I think the group that you're talking about is the group that has a deep, resonant understanding of what they've faced and why this is different, right? Because the other girls here don't have a reference point to understand.
Yeah, they don't have the context.
Yeah.
Not that they can't contribute and do so meaningfully, potentially, but, just in a minute.
In a minute. I love the little aside that Giles and Dawn have, where Giles is sort of saying she'll be okay and Dawn being like, then why do I feel like this? I like that, it's a quick scene, but I think it's nice that they give some space for these core characters to be like, fuck, this feels bad. Like, this doesn't feel good. This feels wrong, but also it felt wrong the other. What a horrible thing. I hate when life does that. When like, no matter what choice you make, it always feels wrong. Oh, it's rough.
Yay.
Faith, this is the voice of reason that we've needed for a fucking moment. I have an idea. How about we fucking sleep for a second? Just like, can we rest? Can we take a rest? And they're all gonna do that, and everything's gonna be fine, and then skirk, the lights go out.
Ruh-roh. So the people at the power plant have left town, so they just flick the really big switch on the way out.
I know. I like that they're like, I guess the power company left. I'm like, is that a thing? Like, does the
People who work at the power company, could you please let us know? Is this a thing? Thanks.
Like, didn't Homer Simpson, I guess he worked at like a nuclear power plant, but
Yes.
like, it's like, was Homer the last guy there? And like, if you're the last guy standing, do you have to turn it off before you leave? Are those the energy rules?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you don't want the bill to be wild.
Super high.
Alba actually pointed out that these scenes at Buffy's house with the group having conversation are all shot handheld, which really emphasizes the instability that we're seeing here in the aftermath of Buffy departing.
Yeah.
Love
So
that.
on the streets of Sunnydale, the last folks are packing their minivans. That's it. They held out till the power left, and now they're getting out of Dodge. And Buffy picks a house.
Buffy's doing a little signature sad walk down the street with her arms wrapped around her. The only thing missing is some overalls.
Someone said, I think in the Discord somewhere, that the way Buffy should probably picked which house it was the one that had the most pairs of overalls inside of it.
This is so weird.
Yeah.
Because she kicks in the door of this house expecting it to be empty. And when there's someone there, even though people are just flooding out of town,
Right.
she's like, I could go to like literally any other house on this street and just take that one instead. But I'm going to take this guy's house. I'm just going to do that.
It's really weird, and the dialogue is really weird. In my notes, I was like, is this like some weird, very fast attempt at making a gentrification joke? Because the line is like, this is a man of color. He's like, get out of my house. And she's like, you should get out of your house, actually. Which, like, clearly it's like, you're going to die. Okay, fine. But then he says, you can't kick me out of my own house. And she says, it's what all the cool kids are doing these days. This isn't your...
Kristen,
Yeah.
that's not a gentrification jab. That's a jab at everybody who just kicked her out of her goddamn house.
Oh, wow. Thank God. I was like, I don't get this line at all. Like, is this... Okay, great.
Even with that context, though, I think this clanks pretty hard.
Yeah, it really does.
I think this needed a couple more drafts.
Not your house, not your town, not anymore. Like I get, but it's not great. It's also like Alba made a good point, which is not necessarily like in the Buffy and this dude's exchange, but said like, this reminded me of a fact I learned recently about evacuations, which is that a lot of times the reason that people aren't evacuating is not just because they're being like obtuse and like, oh, I'm going to live, I'll be fine, but it's because they actually can't afford to fucking leave. So, you know, all those facts on the table, this is a really weird choice. I'm happy that the guy goes because like, you know, it definitely, you don't want to stay in Sunnydale, but she could have picked, maybe he really just had an amazing collection of overalls.
Yeah. Very possible.
So we go to the credits. And then we go, oh, I'm so excited to be back at the mission. The mission.
Back at the mission, Andrew is playing a very one-sided game of I Spy. Because it's daylight, and they need to wait for it to be dark again so that Spike can drive his motorcycle without exploding.
A sleepover for the ages. Just Spike being so annoyed and threatening to kill Andrew, and Andrew throwing up his hands like, oh, you. Oh, it's a cute little scene. A couple of ableist language moments in this episode, which is not a surprise in this show. One of them is here from Andrew, and then later we will get one from Faith. But other than that, this is give me Andrew and Spike forever, honestly, forever.
Yeah. Also, Spike's worried about Buffy.
Yeah. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're playing I Spy and rock, paper, scissors when the Slayer is out there and God knows what could be happening with her. Andrew's like, what's the worst that could happen?
Wow, if season 2 Spike could only see Spike now.
I know.
Support for the show comes from Care Of. Care Of is a subscription service that ships high-quality, personalized vitamins, supplements, and powders conveniently to your door every month. You start by taking a short, in-depth quiz about your lifestyle and your health goals for a personalized recommendation, taking the guesswork out of what supplements are best suited for you. Everything's shipped right to your door, along with a customized booklet showing you exactly what is in your individual daily packs and why it was recommended specifically for you and your health goals. Care of's convenient individual packets also make traveling super easy this summer. Just grab a few, one for each day you're gone, and your vitamin routine is set even when you're away. Lately, I've been really enjoying a protein powder that Care of makes. It's plant-based protein made from organic pea, pumpkin seed protein, and hemp proteins. And it's chocolate flavored. It's really nice. It's creamy. They use organic cocoa powder to make it. And it's delicious. I've been using it in my morning shakes. I'll just pop some ice and some frozen blueberries and some banana, some almond butter, some chocolate plant-based protein powder from Care of, and a little cinnamon and some almond milk, and just blend that right up. Oh yeah, don't forget maybe a red berry, a strawberry, or a raspberry. Either way, whatever you're feeling. Proportions to taste. Blend that up, and man, it's so delicious, especially on these warm summer mornings. It's really refreshing. Want to give it a try? For 50% off your first Care of order, go to takecareof.com and enter code BUFFERING50. That's code BUFFERING50 at takecareof.com for 50% off your first Care of order.
As a podcast network, our focus is bringing you shows you love to listen to. But we also sell merch related to those shows. And partnering with Shopify has made that both possible and simple for us to do. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor adventures, Shopify helps you sell everywhere because they've got you covered, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. What's so fantastic about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, they provide everything you need to get control of your business so you can take it to the next level. Businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. Did you know that your body starts accumulating senescent cells as early as your 20s? Also called zombie cells. These cells stop producing collagen and hyaluronic acid like they used to, and start secreting an inflammatory substance that makes neighboring cells dysfunctional too. There is an answer for these zombie cells though, and it comes from our friends at OneSkin. OneSkin was founded by an all-woman team of scientists and is the first and only skin longevity company to target cellular senescence, a key hallmark of aging, with their proprietary OS1 peptide. It's scientifically proven to decrease lines and wrinkles, boost hydration, and help with the thinning skin that often comes with age. And for a limited time, you can try OneSkin and get 15% off using our code BUFFERING when you check out at oneskin.co. I've been using OneSkin's OS1 face and eye topicals for months now, and I have seen undeniable results. My skin feels healthier and brighter. I'm a big fan of their products, and I'm happy to recommend them. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code BUFFERING at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you.
So I don't know when the rest happened. That's a question I had, because I'm like, wait, they all said they were going to rest, but now they're just back planning down in the basement this time.
Right. They've changed venues.
The girls are like, I don't want to die. Anya's being incredibly Anya. Don't worry. It's far more likely that you'll live to watch all of your friends die first and then you'll die.
Kennedy pushing very hard for them to go to the seal.
Yeah.
Faith very reasonably is like, okay, let's just get a rundown of all our little foes. We've got the First, we've got Caleb, we've got the Turok-Hans or the Turoks-Han, depending on your preference for pluralizing. And then we've got the Bringers. the weakest link. And then this is where, like, I don't know, it just seems goofy. It seems goofy that, like, everyone has the same idea when Faith is like, let's kidnap one bringer, and everyone's like, what a wacky idea.
I know. Because, like,
why? What could ever be gained by doing that?
Hold them ransom. I'm sitting there like, I'm not a Scooby, and yet I understand already why Faith would want to get a bringer. Also, I don't know why it tickled me so much that they refer to the Tureks Han as roid rage vamps because they're so skinny. They're like, I know they're really strong, and that's like what the steroid jab was about, but like it's like they're
But
like
they don't have the bulk.
They
that you
really don't have the
with
bulk.
steroid use.
No. Okay, so Faith clearly is like, you fucking dingbats. I'm saying we could get a bringer because if we have a bringer here, we can probably like get information out of him. Kennedy pushes back again.
Yeah, Kennedy almost sounds like as single-minded as Buffy here, but just without the 6+ years of experience of leading a team to defeat apocalypse after apocalypse.
Yeah. Kennedy truly ready to be the next Slayer in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah. She's ready for the driver's seat.
Yeah. And Willow does take her to task in this moment. You know, I mean, I think like Kennedy, and she says this, like she thought things were going to be different and that people would be like I think listening to her and specifically her. And she's like burned that this is not the case when Cool Mom is in charge.
Cool mom, still a mom.
Yep, still a mom. And that's basically what Faith says. I'm actually your boss now, which means I'm not one of you. And so Kennedy, back the hell off, and you got to let me do my job. And Kennedy does, and to great results, actually. Like, this is good. What I like about this is that, like, Faith asserts this, like, I do have to actually like make a plan, and I'm going to listen to you, but I'm not just going to do what you say. And then we will do this plan. And I like how Kennedy really thrives. Like once this all like lines up and happens, like Kennedy really is feeling it.
Right.
Yeah.
Over at Shadow Valley Vineyards, the bringers are just chipping away. There's something in the rock.
Oh my God.
They need to get out. And Buffy the First is like, she can't get it before we do. So, hey, look at that. There is something.
There is something. So
there's something.
Is the arsenal, here's my question. I'm very confused about the structure of the vineyard. Is the arsenal below the vineyard?
Based on a little trapdoor slippy-doo that we'll get later, it does seem that way, yes.
And then Faith and the others are also underneath the vineyard, or they're at some other decoy?
I feel like they're at a decoy.
We should probably
zone,
know this,
hence the
but
bomb.
But I don't know it because I try not to watch ahead anymore because I'm sad. So the bringers are like the what do you call the Fraggle Rock? The fucking, okay, I'm gonna look it up because Johnny doesn't know. The doozers. The bringers are the doozers here. They are put to work with their little welding masks. I love the fact that the First is like, wait, do these guys sweat? And Caleb is like, I think they actually pant. Like that's how they control their body temperature. Okay, this is the Kennedy moment where I'm like, oh, damn, I would watch a show here. I would follow Kennedy to see what she would look like walking through alleys with a mist. They have sent Kennedy as the bait, and they give her this shot, which is just like such a classic, like Buffy shot. You know, mist coming up from the alley. She's pretending to be disgruntled. We believe it as the audience, thinking, why did Kennedy leave? Oh no, something bad is going to happen to Kennedy. And then LOL, they're just playing a prank on the bringers. They are using Kennedy as bait. My notes specifically say, Kennedy kills a bringer. It is good to me. I like this. And they snag one. They rope a bringer and bring it back to Kennedy says, let's get this back to the captain. Sorry. Kennedy calling Faith the captain happily. I don't know. I'm sweating a little bit. So.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Yeah, this is interesting to me, and kind of like Kennedy calling the bringer this, and then they refer to the bringer as it in the next scene. And it's interesting to me because we just saw how bringers are made. Like, they start as people.
Right.
Just like, say, vampires. And like, we get a little bit more of like what they're about in this episode, and it's not good, but it's also, it seems like, you know, not something they chose. We're fighting, you know, a war of good against evil, so like maybe it isn't the best use of anybody's time to parse this, but it is interesting that they kind of like talk about them in an even more kind of like dehumanizing way than they talk about vampires.
I agree. I thought I had the same thought of like, wait, especially later down in the basement, it's like, whoa, dudes, like this was just a person. I mean, I'm sure you can't bring the person back, but it does seem like they're treating them as though they are just some other kind of demon, always set out for evil. So I don't know, but I agree. Bringers, in addition to not having eyes, do not have tongues. So this bringer cannot talk. Giles and Anya, an exchange here where Anya does not know the definition of the word dumb. Giles says the bringer is dumb. Anya, you were expecting a Rhodes Scholar? No, he doesn't have a tongue. He can't speak. And here's Dawn. This is my sweet baby Dawn. Just perfect. She's like in full... Dawn is just upstairs in her free time reading a book that is not in English, that she needs to parse one word at a time. And she's learned about a Turkish spell that is used to communicate with those who cannot speak. She learns from Willow there is a translation of this book and is deeply upset that she has spent so much time, word by word, finding this out. But I'm just so proud of her. She's working so hard and she's doing such a good job.
She's working hard. She's putting in the hours. She's getting frustrating news. Dawn said, "There's no book club," but then she got over it immediately.
She did. So they decide they're going to do this spell. Faith is like, great. Well, Willow gets the ingredients together and then skirk.
We're back. Hi, everybody. I missed you guys a lot. Sorry it took so long to get back from our mission. But we had to wait out the sun. Well, I think our mission went very well. We rode on Spike's hog, which was very cool, and played some amusing games. And we got some information. But you know what? I really need to urinate.
Oh, Andrew.
We rode on Spike's hog.
It was cool.
We rode on Spike's hog.
Mission. I know I've already said it, but I love it. I'm sorry specifically to LaToya Ferguson. I love Andrew. So then, Spike's like,
oh boy. Oh my God. So awkward. Spike's like, I think we got a lead. Where's Buffy? And everyone's like, you just missed her.
She decided to take a little nap, a little nappy poo. And
we all talked, and Buffy decided it would be best for all of us if she took a little time off. Now, of everybody who shouldn't be in charge of communicating this information to Spike, boy, oh boy, is it ever Willow.
Oh my God, Willow. Poor sweet Willow. If you go to I think it's on the DVDs, there's sort of the blooper reel from season 7, and there's a very hilarious and a very adorable outtake of Allison Hannigan messing up this monologue, and then she looks right at James Marsters and she's like, I didn't work very hard on this monologue. Because that's his line. It's very cute. But yeah, it's, Spike sees through it immediately. So you're telling me that Buffy and Summers took some time off in the middle of an apocalypse? I don't think so. He calls them sad, ungrateful traitors. He says, you're her friends and you betray her like this. I do love the dig on Giles. I am into it because I really think that Giles needs a little bit of time out as well. He says, she surpassed you and you can't handle it. Then to the group, she died for you and this is how you thank her? Oh my God. And then, wow. Like I realized that like we pre-selected Sexual Tension Award nominees, but that I had 2 that I forgot to put in the bin.
Yeah, this is one of them for me too.
Yeah, this one is like massively. I wrote in all caps for the entirety of this fight. I am so deeply turned on by Faith and Spike punching each other. Time for speech giving is over, bad boy. Punch from Spike to Faith. Kristin writes in her notes, hot, 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 hot.
Yeah, they do a lot of punching and kicking and talking. Faith tells Spike that it's cute how Buffy has him whipped.
Mm-hmm. Also, everyone in the house is also watching like hot, 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 hot. They're all in the doorway, just like big eyes. Spike leaves. Where is she? Faith says, I don't know. I think Spike realizes that she's telling the truth, and he leaves, and then he
goes out to the sidewalk and he takes a big snap. Nothing creepy about this.
Nope, totally normal. Just trying to smell for my ex. Just a good ex sniff in the calm Sunnydale air.
So over in the basement, Willow does her little spell to get the bringer to talk. And Andrew keeps saying things, and everyone's like, shut up, Andrew. But then Andrew says, I am a drone in the mind that is evil. And they're like, yeah, shut up.
I'm part of the great darkness.
But then as he continues to talk, they realize that he is actually speaking for the bringer. Here's the thing. Don't you think that in the book that Willow read a translation of and Dawn read in the original language that they would maybe mention how the spell worked?
Maybe. Like, yes, but also magic, you know?
Yeah, a bunch of prank Sinatras writing these spell books back in the day.
It's true. They're like, LOL, they'll figure it out. Oh, so yeah, this is not a great message, but it does include the fact that they are building an arsenal beneath the dirt.
Mm-hmm. Hey, get in line. Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? It's true. We will laugh as you die is the limit for Giles, who then, consulting no one, slices the neck of this bringer.
Yeah. It's like earlier during the bringer's monologue, Kennedy puts a knife to the bringer's throat, and Giles was like, Kennedy!
I know!
I couldn't possibly stand by and allow this to happen. And then moments later, he is unable to stop himself from slitting the bringer's throat, even though they could have potentially gotten more information.
Right! He had only been talking for like 30 seconds.
And to Andrew's point, no way of knowing that this would not be a little mystical throat slash of poor sweet Andrew.
Seriously, what the bananas, he says, to my enjoyment. So they're like, okay, we'll just ignore the fact that Giles has done this without consulting anyone. And Faith will inform Faith. We'll get some maps. Now we need to figure out where there's like a subterranean large enough to house an armory. I'm like, y'all live on the Hellmouth. The whole thing is a subterranean big enough to fucking house it. What are we looking for?
Yeah.
You poke one hole in that ground, the whole thing's fallen down. This is just one big sewers connected to more holes. It's all true. Holes under there. Okay, here we are at 1722 Revello Drive.
Wow, you clocked the street number?
No, I just made it up.
Oh, okay. You think she stayed on Revello Drive?
Yeah, I think she walked 4 houses down. I mean, how far can Spike smell? I know he can smell, but can he really smell that far?
I wasn't under the impression that he was smelling her where she is, but
just,
rather
following.
like the trail of scent that she left.
He's like that cartoon when it smells a pie. It just
Yes, exactly. Buffy is the pie in this case.
So he finds the house, and I think this is really interesting. The first thing that Spike says, that he can go into this house without an invitation needed, which signifies that the town really is theirs now, that it is no longer a town that belongs to people. Yeah. Nice. A really tasty morsel of a detail there.
Yeah, and then Spike's like, yo, fuck Faith. And Buffy's like, ugh, it was everyone, not just Faith. Also, please leave.
Oof, yeah, Buffy is in bad shape, which is to be expected. She's like, it wasn't just Faith, it was all of them. And she says, and it's not like they were wrong. Spike is here to pick Buffy back up again. And the first attempt he makes is by saying, but you were right. There is something that Caleb is trying to protect from you. And I think it is at the vineyard. So you were right. Get up. Let's go.
He's like, I know how much you love being right.
Yeah. I mean, it's a noble first effort, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Buffy, I don't feel very right. And he says,
no.
I know.
What are we in season 6 right now?
Pretty much. Season 6, part side B, the B side of season 6.
Yeah.
You are their leader. This isn't something you gave up. It's something they took. We'll come back to this conversation because it's only going to get more emotional. First, let's go. Oh, look who's going to come and join fucking Faith. I'd love to see the mayor and Faith back together again.
Oh, wait, but before.
Yes, I know. I saw my big mayor. I got excited. I know.
Oh.
Okay, wait, talk about Giles first.
Okay, so I'm calling this location Joyce's bedroom because it seems like whoever is in charge sleeps there.
I called it Buffy's bedroom, which upsets me a little bit about what's about to happen.
The turnover is just too unpredictable right now. I'm going with what I know.
Yeah. It's the general's bedroom?
Yeah. So Faith is finalizing the plan with Giles, and she's like, okay, what time should we? So like around 7. And then she's like, no. Or a good leader would say 7 sharp, which is cute.
It's cute.
And Giles is like, okay, roger that. And then as he's leaving, he like stops and pauses to say like, Faith, you're doing just fine, which is nice.
I know. It's like fucking took you long enough to say anything nice to this girl. It is nice. It is nice. And like, I think, and I'll wait to talk about it more in depth, but I think that like Faith gets at least one bite, no pun intended, of what we've been wanting her to have from the moment she arrived in Sunnydale in this episode. Finally, she gets some of the, and she's not only getting it, but she's able to also receive it. I'm not trying to speak in ways that could also be speaking about her and Wood having hot sex, okay? But that's just what's happening. I'm sorry. Okay, so then here comes the little mayor.
Yay! Oh, we're so happy to see him.
Oh, he has so many amazing mayor lines. It's the end of humanity, Faith, not the end of courtesy.
Hell yeah.
He also says, I'm part of the first, as you kids call it. Oh, God, it's just delicious. It's delicious.
But he does like make this interesting, while he's saying that, this interesting point for us that, you know, these sort of apparitions of the first design that people are seeing, he alleges that they're not just the first, that they're also, you know, made up of the stuff of the people the first is imitating.
Yeah, which I buy. I buy this. I think this is true facts.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's impossible to parse it. I don't think that we could ever really know, because it could just be evil being really evil, or it could be evil using evil's power to parse parts of these folks' past traumas and past, you know, lived experiences. But I think it's more powerful if it's the latter, because it's like using each human's deepest wounds. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. He tells her he's doing a better job with the girls than Buffy did, and good thing they kicked her out. And Faith does two things that I love. She's like, number one, she like tries to say like, that's not what happened. But Dawn said, get out, get out, get out. And secondly, she defends Buffy's honor. She defends her girlfriend. The mayor.
Faith honestly came the closest to defending Buffy's honor even last episode. Faith has been the only one that is actually had like a little more space for the weight of the world, to use an episode title. You know, like, this is kind of a hard gig, you guys. It's not a walk in the park. It's not always easy to like meet folks in the middle. I was really hoping, Jenny, that you were going to bring up Little Women, because you know how I love when you talk about Little Women. But
when have I talked about Little Women?
I don't remember. I just know that we had a conversation about it in the past. It could have been on a Patreon pod. I don't know. I just know I've talked to you about Little Women. I think it was in pod. I don't know why, though.
I've never read it. I just watched the adaptation for the first time, the one with Winona Ryder in it for the first time, maybe a couple months ago. Yeah. And I gotta say, I don't know what's going on. I don't even know how to have a favorite Little Woman.
I don't know why. I just love it. I love it.
Their world is inscrutable to me.
But the mayor liking Meg the best because she's a proper lady is also just such an amazing. It's just good. Okay, so manipulation o'clock, but I also like the idea that the first also doesn't only work in lies, that the first is also using truth as weapon, and we don't know that, right? But it's like that's the question on the table with this, like, you have to be careful of Buffy because like you should stay on guard. She's dangerous. She's gonna destroy
She'll always see you as a killer, not a person.
Doesn't feel like a lie. I mean, I want it to be a lie. I want Buffy. I think Buffy is moving toward a place where that can be a lie, but I think she's in a gray area right now, which is what makes the first and the firsty monologues as trippy as they are. I mean, and I love Faith owning later, like, that she's like, I knew that he was here to manipulate me, and fucking still. Like, I just think that that's so powerful. It's like when you have shit that's that deep, like, it doesn't even matter if you know somebody's pushing the button, it's still the fucking button. You can't.
Yeah, it's like, I know that Tatiana Maslany plays all of the clones on Orphan Black. I know that before I started watching, but then before I know it, they're just all different people to me.
The amount of times I referred to them as like a them. Like, literally, like, oh, it would be so cool if they were all, wait. Okay, back to the abandoned house. A small aside on Spike's relationship to the word no. But yeah, I know. I'm like, well, that's a casual, deep reference.
Yeah, what you couldn't hear, listeners, is me making my
cringing. I know.
Face.
I was responding to Jenny's very appropriate cringe. But she says she's not leaving, and Spike this is a great tactic again. Spike says, it's chaos without you. There's unrolled sleeping bags everywhere, and also
everyone's unkempt.
And also, when that isn't working, I hit Faith a bunch of times.
Yeah. Buffy perks up at that.
She does. Really?
But then here we go. Here we're like starting to get into what it really is. You know, Buffy's like, every time I say the word, a girl dies. Casualties. It sounds so casual. And then she talks about how she knows she's been keeping these girls at a distance because she knew some of them were going to die. And then she takes it even further, Kristin. She's like, I've always cut myself off. Being the Slayer made me different, but I'm the one who made it so that I stayed that way. You know, somebody else said something about this.
No.
He was about 6'2". He had sandy butterscotch hair and a nice wide smile.
Like,
You do a lot of push-ups.
I don't know if the listeners are as attuned to you like audio-wise as I am audio plus visual-wise, but like when Jenny started the very beginning of this talk, I knew that she was aiming for Riley. Like
I didn't even know I was aiming for Riley.
I did. I was like, this bitch is gonna land in a pile of fucking army muscles at the end of this shit, and there you went.
Lord, let it be so. People try to connect and I just slip away. And then she says, you, and then in parentheses that are silent that we can't hear, and Riley should know.
It is true. It is exactly the conversation that Riley and Buffy had in season 4.
Yeah, it's just like a couple seasons later.
She's coming around to some of her truths. She's like, and I actually do think that I'm like really into people taking off my boots slowly.
Yeah, what actually was cut from this episode for time as a shot later where after Buffy asks Spike to get into bed and hold her, she's like, wait, I'm uncomfortable. Could you just take my boots off? No, wait. Slower. That's actually why I'm not mad at Buffy for putting her shoes on the bed. The only time it's allowed is when it's actually part of the sex. You have to keep the boots on because if you don't, they can't be taken off. Exactly.
But yeah, this is important, and this is kind of the thing that I don't think this and only this is what she needed to uncover for herself, but I do think part of fighting is being able to make yourself vulnerable. And I kind of think that it is one of the hardest parts of fighting. I'm talking really generally now, like when you're battling something emotionally, when you're battling something, like in your life, when you're whatever, that like, I know that for me, the hardest part is being vulnerable. Like, can I take the risk? Can I take the risk of loss? Right? Is it possible for me to love these potentials, connect with these potentials? Is it possible for me to love a partner? Is it possible for me to fill in the blank with like whatever it is that like you're moving through or you've moved through? I think the hardest bit is like Buffy can punch and kick and in a lot of ways lead, but she also, her default is to protect herself. You can't fault her for it because people are always trying to kill the girl, but the recognition that what she's struggling with most is the fact that she can't connect to people because she knows she might lose them, I think is really key. Back to the point of like, if we're going to do this, it truly, genuinely has to be together. Spike's like, I remember a lot of connecting, actually. There's a whole HGTV series about it, actually. So
yeah.
There's a lot of connection through ankle-length leather skirts. There was connecting. It was miraculous.
Beneath many a Persian rug.
Oh God. Yeah. But Buffy's like, but we weren't close. You just wanted me because I was unattainable. This is it for Spike.
He's had it.
I texted Jenny two things I scream texted to Jenny. This is one. Spike, I've hummed along to your pity ditty. James Marsters deserves an Emmy for delivering that line. How does he say it? How does he do it? Your pity ditty.
It's very good.
So good. He tells Buffy she's insufferable. He says, this is my favorite, I see you, Spike moment. Buffy asks him what he's trying to say. And he says, I don't know, but I'm going to know when I'm done saying it. Let's take a little journey through what Spike is going to say.
I've been alive a bit longer than you. And dead a lot longer than that. I've seen things you couldn't imagine. And done things I prefer you didn't. Don't exactly have a reputation for being a thinker. I follow my blood, which doesn't exactly rush in the direction of my brain. So I make a lot of mistakes, a lot of wrong bloody calls. 100+ years. And there's only one thing I've ever been sure of. You. look at me. I'm not asking you for anything. When I say I love you, it's not because I want you, or because I can't have you. It has nothing to do with me. I love what you are, what you do, how you try. I've seen your kindness and your strength. I've seen the best and the worst of you. And I understand with perfect clarity exactly what you are. You're a hell of a woman. You're the one, Buffy.
I don't want to be the one.
I don't want to be this good-looking and athletic. We all have crosses to bear.
Well, 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 well.
This is romantic.
Oh, it's very nice. He believes in her.
It's so...
He cares about her.
Angel could never.
Oh, shots fired. Morgan, wherever you are, cover your ears.
I'm sorry. We're almost done with the podcast, you guys. I'm going to try to burn it down.
Morgan is somewhere with her fingers jammed directly in her ears going, doo, 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 doo.
Oh, guys, it's okay. You can have your opinions. I'm not right. In that moment, truly, I was only trying to stir up a lot of shit. I was being a bitch. But this is very...
Oh, Kristen thinks she's in LA right now.
This is, though, very beautiful and nice. And I don't know, like just the perfect mix of... My favorite piece of it is when he says, I love what you are, what you do, pause, how you try.
Oh.
That feels like it really gets to the core of what it is to be Buffy or someone like Buffy. That like, this is the biggest ask. Jenny and I talked a lot last week with the Empty Places song about the moment in season 5 when Buffy sits down amidst the Knights of Turrican. What the fuck? Byzanthar. Bliggity blang.
Byzantium.
Yep. And she sits down and she's just sort of broken. She stares vacantly out and it's like, can she stand up? Can she get up? Can she keep fighting? And like that ability to stand up and continue trying is what makes Buffy Buffy. And like, hopefully, seems like by the end of this episode, it is going to be what makes Buffy Buffy still.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't even talk about this rest of this scene, Jenny. I'm going to cry.
What?
The rest of the scene, I'm going to cry.
Whoa! He's like, well, and I'm off. Now that I've done my monologue, I'll check in on you later. And she's like, please stay. And he's like, ah, yes, I will sit in this chair. And she's like, no, come over here and hold me.
I can't. It's so tender.
Sometimes it's the end of the world and you just need to be held.
Jenny's expression of emotion is that while she was describing the scene, she took the microphone cord and curled it into the tightest little coil that I've ever seen in my whole life. It's like the same as like taking the label off the beer bottle, but you don't have a beer bottle.
Correct.
Oh, God. It's really powerful. We've been on a very long journey with these two, and this really is some end of the world shit. And I love how this is juxtaposed with a lot of other people fucking, you know? Like, that is not where these two are. They are holding each other. There's nothing in this scene that makes us think that they're gonna have sex. It's not about sex. It's truly about, like, having their skin touching each other's skin and just being like holding, which I will cry forever. So see you never. Bye-bye. Okay. Yeah.
So back over at Joyce's room, Mayor Wilkins / the First is still just like going hard. He's like, no one will love you the way I do. And I'll always be with you, Firecracker, in everything you do. And then he does a little TV blip. Now, I was wondering if we could phone a friend, if we could get some expert input to find out what approximately it costs to put one TV blip into an episode of television in 2003. I feel like LaToya either knows or can find out. Okay. And I want to know because there's a lot of TV blips in this episode. Blipping and hoping all over.
There's some other blipping that's about to happen.
Yes, there is.
Because fucking knock, knock. Robin scares the fucking shit right out of Faith. She's like, God damn it. You can't just sneak up on a girl when she's talking to her past traumas.
Yeah.
But then she does something important, which is that she tells him the truth about what's happening. This is very different for Faith. Faith is usually just the person who's going to do what she first does, which is, are you looking to be the guy who puts pal and principal for me? Like, she's very like, it's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fucking fine. Get the fuck out of here. And then she shows us her growth and says it was the first. And Robin closes the door. He would like to hear more. He would like to share his feelings and his penis.
Oh my God. I think this like it feels weird to me that he's like, oh, you're really in the game now, Faith. The First doesn't show itself unless it thinks you matter. Faith is a fucking vampire slayer. Faith is at the top of the pyramid as far as the First's to-do list is concerned.
I agree. But on the flip side, I agree. It doesn't make any sense. But I also think on the flip side, the entire like heartbeat of this scene is that finally someone is truly recognizing Faith's importance, Faith's power, Faith's abilities, and like actually being present with her emotionally as they are present with her physically, something we know from the horrible experience that we saw in the This Year's Girl, Who Are You set. She has not felt ever. So
I do love that Wood is telling Faith, like, oh, that's like what the First does. It like finds your weaknesses, you know, it like goes for your Achilles heel. And she's like, whoa, it just talked to me. It does a heel thing too. Yes. Yes.
Yes, and also double yes on Robin's response. He's not like, yeah, ding dong, the Achilles heel, you don't know what that is? He's like, it's a phrase. It means your weak spot. She's like, school. I was absent that decade. You know, everybody's chill. Everybody's good to each other. Oh.
Yeah.
Then Faith shares more. She says it was a boss. I know. She says it was a boss, and he's like, what? Like, didn't pay enough, or what the hell happened? She's like, no, he was like a dad to me. Robin's like, it was my mom when it came to me. Robin says, I knew it was a trick just like you did, Faith, but it still got to me. I still wanted her to hold me like a little baby. In a manly way, of course. Yeah, and I mean, this is like, I don't know. I my last note in this scene is I love this for them, and it's because of how they get here. You know, Faith asks Robin if he thinks the First tells the truth because it told her that Buffy was dangerous. And she really is asking, like, am I supposed to believe this? And she says, you know, I don't know what I'm supposed to believe, but I just wish that she was here, which is...
Girlfriends. They were roommates.
When you say here, do you mean like here in the fight, or do you mean like here in the bedroom? Where do you mean precisely? But it's just really nice. And Robin says, oh, she's not the only one. You're a slayer too, and you're a good leader. Faith's pants fly across the room. This is the shit. Forget tomorrow. We have tonight. She says, am I out of line? Like, am I reading something that perhaps I wasn't? And he's like, no, pal. You're picking up what I'm putting down. And then he
picks her up and puts her down.
Yes. And they have hot sex. It is
Yay!
good. It is good
Hot
emotionally.
sex on
It
this
is
show.
good physically.
Hot sex on this show.
Yes. Standing ovation.
Okay, so then at the other end of the spectrum,
Oh.
let's swing over to Willow's room. Kennedy has murdered all the potentials that usually sleep in this room with him so that she and Willow can have some private sexy time. Here's the thing, Kristen. These ladies haven't had sex yet? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Well, but so I thought that too until I rewatched the scene and remembered that the reason that they haven't had sex is because Willow's afraid that an orgasm will be a loss of control that turns her back into Dark Willow. Complicated.
We all know that notoriously orgasms make people evil on this show.
I mean,
of course.
like the math is
reasonable fear.
Yes, like this is the math that has been written on the page. So I actually do understand why Willow has not. I mean, I don't know why Kennedy hasn't gotten to enjoy herself. That's unclear to me.
It
but...
really sounds like none of our business, to be perfectly frank.
We all know that in a relationship, if somebody has the tongue ring, they have to pleasure you first. I'm so upset about the...
No!
It's
2003.
I'm so
There's
upset.
a tongue ring.
My girlfriend in 2003. My girlfriend in the year 2000 also had a tongue ring. It was like a thing. Is it still a thing? Don't tell me. It's not.
I haven't seen any tongue rings lately.
As in your wide swath of research.
Well, I'm always talking to people and they mostly have tongues.
Can you stick out your tongue? I just need to check. Oh God.
The thing about this scene, obviously, we love queer women on this show.
Clearly,
on our show, the podcast, we're fans of the concept of queer women.
However, two heterosexual women love queer women.
Yeah, yes, exactly. We are. What's the word for straight women who love queer women?
I don't know. Right into us.
So the thing is that I don't know what's going on here. It feels very okay, so we just came from a scene where Faith and Wood are having sex and it's hot and awesome.
Yeah.
And then here we have many candles.
Mm-hmm.
There's candles everywhere, Kristen.
There's
been a lot of preparation.
There's candles in Faith's room too. There's candles in both rooms. I was like, wow, everybody was prepared.
But there's a thing that there's just some...
Jenny and I both did the same hand gesture like earlier before we even talked about the scene. Because I was like, Jenny, off mic, Jenny was like, we were talking about the sexual tension awards, right? Okay, we're just going to be transparent. And it was like, we think everyone will be mad at us if we don't put Willow and Kennedy in it. But as two queer women, we feel not super turned on by this sex scene. And I said to Jenny, well, first we made the hand motion. And then, which is
the hand motion is hold your hand flat. And so that you're sort of like in front of your face so that you're looking at the side of it. You're looking at basically your thumb, right? Mm-hmm. Your hand is like flat in front of you. Mm-hmm. And then just sort of raise it and lower it, and this is sort of simulating
the
Kennedy,
sexy touching.
Yeah. The caressing in quotes.
Also, it's even more powerful if you pretend there's a boob 1 millimeter to the left of your hand, but don't
it's lava.
Go near
boob
it.
is lava. If you touch the boob, you'll be incinerated.
Yep, the boob is
and
lava.
You'll go straight to hell, actually.
The boob is lava. If you touch the boob, you're out of the game. That's it. That's how it works.
Yeah, and then you don't get to do the rigid up and down motion anymore. Even.
So, and I said, and I think that this is true because the thing is like we want this to be sexier than it is, but it is not for us. Not yuck and your yum. But I think like when you, especially because we really have the side by side of like Wood and Faith right next to Kennedy and Willow, literally in the same house next door to each other. We're getting the scenes back to back. And it's like, wait, why did they get to do what they're doing? But these two are like doing this weird. The only thing that they think they're being like, ooh, sexy is when Kennedy is like, did you see I have a tongue ring? Jenny and I both shrivel into tiny raisins.
These girls aren't even clasping hands and moving a vending machine telepathically.
They deserved better. And maybe, the truth is they probably got better. We just weren't allowed to see it, which is what we're upset about. Because once the cameras left, that's when the good shit got good. That once those cameras were out of there, shit got a lot better.
Right. Release the Quillo sex tape.
Quillo?
Canillo? Wenity. Willenity.
Wenity. It's Wenity for me.
Yeah, and you know what? Great effort. A for effort. I think just a lot of the nice things. I'll say the nice things. I will say I really do like this idea that Willow is afraid to let go because she's afraid of what will happen to her. I like that she agrees to let go. And I like that Kennedy says to Willow that she'll be her tether, that like they can do this together. That's really nice. It is really nice. It's just like in the other room, it was really nice and really sexy. So I am a person who believes both can exist, even when there's two women in the room. What did we ever do to this show?
I don't know, Jenny.
To deserve this treatment?
I don't know. At least they're both alive.
For now. Downstairs in the kitchen, Anya and Xander are absolutely slamming some ice cream straight out of the gallon container, bemoaning the moaning that comes from above them.
I love this.
Where are all the potentials, Kristin? Where are they?
They're in the basement. They're probably having an orgy downstairs.
There are like 50 of them. Where? There's not room for all of them in the basement.
They went to go get an ice cream cone. What?
I had a terrible thought.
My favorite thing is if it's going to be the same thing I said, but you were talking, so you didn't hear me. What was your terrible thought?
What did you say?
No, what was your terrible thought?
What are the potentials all having an end of the world orgy?
Literally what I said. Amazing.
I just hate listening to you is the thing.
I didn't say end of the world, but I did say orgy. Maybe they're all downstairs having a potential orgy. Or they're just
like
getting
that you
ice cream.
just said it, but I had the experience of thinking it, starting to say it, and then being like, this is not a thing I should say aloud into a microphone. When you were like, I already said it, actually.
No, the potentials are all downstairs. They're like watching I Know What You Did Last Summer. You know what I mean? Like they're just having
There's
popcorn.
no power. Wait, how is that ice cream still frozen?
Oh, that's probably why they're eating it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You got to go through the frozen stuff before it goes. Anyway, good thing. Because I have to say, I forgot that they fucked again, Anya and Xander. And so I was like, seriously? I call bullshit. There's absolutely no way that you would sit across the table from your fucking ex eating ice cream while everyone else fucked and you knew you were probably going to die tomorrow and not also fuck. Like, show me the footage. And they didn't. They, of course, fucked on the floor. So thank you. My note is yes, thank you. My notes are, Jenny, are you ready for this montage? Spike and Buffy, sob. Faith and Wood, hot. Willow and Kennedy, no, not a tongue ring. Anya and Xander, yes, thank you.
Here are my montage notes.
Okay.
Buffy and Spike cuddling. Wood and Faith having very hot sex. Kennedy respectfully caressing Willow and also licking her neck with a tongue ring, semicolon. There are candles everywhere. Xander and Anya banging it out on the kitchen floor, just like the Lord intended.
Okay, so...
Meanwhile, Buffy the First is like, I envy them. Could it be, much like Tora Khan might just need a little hug, could it be that the First just needs to like bang it out?
I think so. That's what I'm getting from this. First needs a little bang, a little evil bang. And she can't get that. She can't feel. She wants to wrap her hand around some innocent neck and feel it crack. Or counterpoint, why don't you try fucking first? You know, because
try the fucking first. You don't have to kill You don't have to kill anybody to fuck. I mean, you can, I guess.
We would prefer it. But... Yeah, don't.
I made a note because I feel like talking about it in the last episode or two. I think I was saying that like Nathan Fillion doesn't feel like great as a villain to me, but I feel like in this scene he feels very good to me. And maybe it's that he's really just kind of like very focused here, you know, kind of sermonizing. And, you know, the way that he delivers the "you give me strength no man can have" line, like there's something about all this that works. And when he's like interacting really with anybody else besides the first, I feel like he just like twirls his mustache a little too hard and like takes it a little bit over the top. And he's like, "I'm an evil preacher and then I slit this girl's throat." Ma! You know? But here, opposite Sarah, obviously, like, what a dream of a scene partner. But this, like, it's so, like, tight and crisp to me. This, like, feels so good. And I'm like, oh no, now I'm scared of the scary preacher, but not for long, because things are gonna get a lot less scary where he's concerned momentarily.
The fight.
Yeah.
That's the background music for the fight. That's and complete with barrels rolling. Okay, so we get a brief clip to cry again of Buffy just looking at Spike. Kill me. Back to Revello Drive, we get a touch more Andrew. Andrew's explaining that all the stone tablets said the same thing. The first is protecting something. We're thinking it's a weapon. Faith. Good thinking, Andrew. Andrew, it's a pleasure, Faith. Back to you. I laugh so loud. I love it.
Yeah, this is really good. You know what else is good?
What?
Updating my Sexual Tension Award nominees. Faith decides to deploy a little unit of potentials to go secretly look in on Buffy and just make sure she's okay. Don't let her know you're there. Just make sure she's okay.
She's okay.
Because she's worried about her.
She is. It's like,
oh
what
my
about
God.
me? She's like, stay by your phone.
The notes I have on this dialogue are: Wood, where do you want me? Faith. Jenny, I have some ideas. Faith, by your phone. Jenny, no! This is the other side of the coin with Faith Lehane. Okay, sure, she dabbled in some vulnerability last night, but she's certainly not gonna still be in that place this morning.
She's
got other shit going on.
She's got a lot to do. Oh God. Well, all the girls are leaving the men they are into behind because not only has Faith told Wood he must wait by the phone for a call, Buffy has left Spike a note. I wonder, do you think there's any doodles in it? Like any of those S's where you draw 6 lines and connect them all?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
All right. So we don't know what the note says. I like fully believed that we were going to get like a voiceover telling me what was in the note, but that's because I haven't watched the last 2 episodes because I'm sad. So, all right.
Okay.
Wow. Well, we know where Buffy went, don't we?
That's right. She's back at Shadow Valley Vineyards, tossing a bringer down the stairs, and she's like, "Hey, I heard you got something of mine." And we're like, I hope this goes different than it did last time. And then Buffy proceeds to zoop and capoeira her way around this evil vineyard as though Caleb were me and Buffy were Frank in my yard with a stick in his mouth, refusing to come inside the house when it's time to come inside the house. The first is like, Caleb, this is getting embarrassing. And I'm like, fucking, I know. I have neighbors and they see me. It's humiliating.
It's a good tactic. Frank and Buffy points to them. This is it works.
Just zoop around. You don't have to land a blow necessarily. If you just like avoid absorbing a blow yourself. We get another TV zap from the first, and I'm like, LaToya, how much does it cost? Buffy's running up stacked barrels. What is she, fucking Donkey Kong or some shit? She's making a real fool of this man.
It's fucking hysterical.
Oh no! He acts. He's so mad that he pushes a barrel over that happens to be the barrel that was both concealing and holding the trapdoor shut.
Is that what happened? I was confused. I missed it. So I was like, how did the trapdoor open? When did that happen? But okay.
That is what it looked like to me. Maybe I'm like misreading.
No, that makes sense.
But oh my gosh, it's a trapdoor. Buffy just slides right through it. And she finds a weird red axe, and from her look, seems like we should be a lot more excited about
we
this
should
weird
be.
red axe.
I don't know why yet, but it seems like a good sign. And it's like, is this what the bringers were trying to get out of the rock, but it was down there? Did they get it out of the rock? Well, I don't understand. I guess we'll learn more.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they've cleared the rock away from it, and now it's sitting there like the fucking sword in the stone.
Yeah, truly. Meanwhile, flashlights have been procured. They got they went to the dollar store. They didn't even have to pay because no one's there. They just took all the flashlights, all the batteries. They're in this tunnel. We don't know where this tunnel is, somewhere underneath Sunnydale, and they're looking for the arsenal. They find a pile of weapons.
And I'm immediately doing the math. How much, if I sell all of these axes to the blacksmith at Whiterun in Skyrim, how much
oh my God,
would I profit?
Probably enough to make 3 blips for the
Yeah. Yes.
This is, so the bringers descend on the girls led by Faith here. I have written amazing walkthrough by Faith, hot. So apparently I was super into Faith's like walk through the battle that they give us in this scene. I'm also into Amanda. Like literally Amanda embodies every frustration you've ever had with the crossbow and then says, fuck this. I'm just going to use it as like a weapon as I run forward with a battle cry and plunge.
And that's the way you do it, Amanda. Hell yeah.
Right. Vi, who's been absent for like 40 episodes, is kicking all of his ass downstairs. I don't know what happened to Vi, but she's doing a great job.
She had a private tutor.
Yeah. And Kennedy, of course, is my note. Kennedy is, of course, kicking ass. Kennedy is, I think, the best fighter of the potentials. Oh, great. Meanwhile, Nathan Fillion saying his favorite line across all Whedon verses, "You whore." Like, don't cast Nathan Fillion on your show unless his character gets to at least call one woman a whore. Otherwise, that's in his contract.
That's in his contract for sure.
That happened before Buffy jumped down the hatch, but I just wanted to make sure it was included. So she finds this axe in a stone, and meanwhile, Faith kicks the lock on what she has found, and beep, 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 beep.
Oh no! That's the last thing you want to see when you open up a metal box.
A bomb? In this economy?
In this universe?
Like, come on! Where are we? In a submarine on Lost? Get out of here with your bomb. But that's it. We go to black, man. This is the end of the fucking series. We got
what's gonna happen?
2 episodes left. So typical of 2 Slayers. One Buffy, one Faith. Buffy's like, ah, and Faith gets a bomb in a locked box. Bullshit.
Yeah, I feel like I would... Well, I mean, we'll see what happens in the next episode, but this is not the triumph I was hoping for Faith on her first time out as the leader.
Well, she did have sex, so...
Oh, yeah, you don't want to do that before
a fatal mistake. So, anyway, this was an episode. I enjoyed this episode. This episode it feels like many important things were inside of this episode.
And speaking of things inside of things, let us turn our attention now to this episode's installment of the Sexual Tension Awards. Sexual Tension Award. Well, Kristen, I can almost see the light at the end of the slot tunnel. Our days of jamming noms into various slots will soon be over, if you can believe it.
I can't. I refuse.
Yeah, I hate to think about it, but here we are. So let's make these last few rounds really count, people.
Great.
For today's episode, Season 7, Episode 20, Touched, here are the noms in our slots.
These are the numbs in our slots. You know, like these are the days of our lives. No? Like sands through the hourglass. These are the numbs in our slots.
Okay, in slot number 1, there's a lot of different kinds of foreplay, and ice cream is one of them. Who can deny it?
Not I.
Sometimes when you can't beat them, you have to join them in having sex. It's Anya and Xander.
Beautiful.
In slot number 2, a different kind of foreplay in this universe is punching each other in the face. So hey, it's Faith and Spike.
Hell yeah.
In slot number 3, sometimes sexual tension is a little subtler than a punch or slamming some ice cream. Sometimes it's getting some of your employees to secretly go check on your ex to make sure she's doing okay after you kicked her out of her own house.
Yep.
It's Faith and Buffy.
Yep.
And then in slot number 4, sometimes the best foreplay is actually the hot sex that's already happening. It's Faith and Wood.
Hot.
I'm trying to think of the noise a flamethrower makes, but the only noise that's coming to my mind is boy yo 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 yoing. Please vote responsibly, but most importantly to vote. Find our Sexual Tension Award Twitter poll at BufferingCast on Twitter. You'll be able to vote for 1 week from the day that we publish this episode. So come on down. Let us know what you think. Please.
Let us know what you like. Let us know what you're into.
Are you into ice cream as foreplay, punching as foreplay, just kind of surveilling as foreplay, or fucking as foreplay?
Fucking as foreplay. Always a good pick. Always.
Sexual Attention Award.
All right, Jenny. Well, here we are. 20 in.
Here we are indeed.
2 to go.
That's fucking nuts.
You're telling me. You are telling me. Whew. Well, just in case, after 142 episodes, they don't know who.
Oh, please. Plus double episodes, bonus episodes.
Well, okay, fine. After 1 million episodes, they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Oh my God, let me tell you all about it. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs. And when I'm not watching Buffy, I am usually writing, recording, and releasing friggin' music. That's not about Buffy, necessarily. My newest EP is called It's Dangerous to Go Alone, and you can find that on Bandcamp or your favorite digital music platform. Hey, you can give me a shout on Twitter or Instagram or even frigging TikTok at Jenny Owen Youngs, and you can join me for live streams on my Twitch channel on just about a weekly frigging basis. Who are you?
My name is Kristin Russo. Thank you so much for asking. My middle name is Nolene, and you can use the spelling of my first name and my middle name to learn more about me on Twitter, on Instagram, or on my website. There's a jingle for that, actually.
How does it go?
Kristin with an I, Noeline.
A gem. It's like I didn't know, if I would remember it for the next 2, and I was like, I gotta get it in one more time. If I forget, maybe now I'll remember every time. Who knows? Anyway, that is how you spell my name. It's also in the show notes. I do a lot of work when I'm not talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer with LGBTQ plus communities specifically. Most recently, I do a lot of talks with workplaces and other organizations to help better prepare folks for being good in the workplace, but also being good parents and family members of LGBTQ plus youth. You can learn all about that on my site. And what about us, Jenny? Little old us.
Buffering the Vampire Slayer is on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at BufferingCast. And you could drop us an email at bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com.
You can support us and the work that we do or have done here at Buffering the Vampire Slayer by going on over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/bufferingcast, or just learn all about what we do and support us in any way you'd like on our website, bufferingthevampireslayer.com.
This episode was produced by Kristin Russo, Jenny Owen Youngs, and Alba Daza, with support from our consultant, Mackenzie MacDade. It was edited by John Mark Nelson. And till next time,
woo!
Replay every damn mistake in my private picture show. Dark echoes that I can't shake, my own new all-time low. How I wish that I would have seen, but I let the power come in between me and the things that I need. Hold me. I hate that I feel so far from the ones who've loved me well. I know that I played my part, but God, I feel like hell. How I wish that I would have seen, but I let the power come in between me and the things that I need. Hold me. Hold me. Hold me. From deep in the midnight black, a prayer sent silently. I just need the strength to stand in someone's arms around me. If I get the chance to redeem, I won't let the power come in between me and the things that I need.
Talmor, Sheshin Marachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Finding a new podcast to listen to is easy. Finding a good new podcast, that's a little tougher. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. If you like fascinating information you can use in your life from some of the top experts in the world, you're going to like Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and recently we've covered topics like the benefits of laughing, the science of dreaming, where your deep desires come from, even how to make the perfect burger. We produce 3 episodes a week, and each episode is packed with rock-solid intel that will make your life better. And we have a lot of fun doing it. Something You Should Know has been ranked on the Apple Podcast charts every day for over 7 years. A lot of people like this podcast, and you will too. Listen to Something You Should Know wherever you get your podcasts. Look for the bright yellow light bulb on the blue background. It's Something You Should Know.